Hello, wombats. Okay, it's time to do 2-point perspective. Not one, but two. 2 points. Okay, let's get started. Ow. Okay, here we are. We're going to take our normal, everyday, average 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and just like I keep doing this folding stuff, but it makes sense because it'll get us all on the same page. I want 2 center lines. I want a center line vertically and I want a center line horizontally. So there's our vertical center line, and let's do our horizontal. Remember the way to fold is line up those corners, and once those are lined up, then you complete the fold. All right, here we go. Look at that, built-in straight lines for the vertical and the horizontal. I'm gonna stick mine to my tape here. Make sure I don't move off camera. I'm gonna reinforce these lines with a marula now that I see where they are. If I can see where they are, there we go. There's our center line. Here's our horizon line. Now, on the 1-point perspective videos, I've been putting a disappearing point over here. And we're gonna do that this time also. But we're gonna put a point over here too. Okay, now let's put a point, not all the way down the bottom here. Let's put a center point, just like a couple inches up. Just about yay. Do. So we got these points. We got 1, 2, 2, broke my lid, click, 2, and 3 down here. Okay, so here's where we're going to draw our box in 2-point perspective. And here's disappearing point 1, and here's disappearing point 2. I have to make sure I'm not blocking it with my head. All right, so let's draw a line from 1 to 3. Remember how we draw accurately? We put our pencil on the point, bring the ruler to it, and then rotate until we get where we need to go. Let's connect 2 and 3 as well. Same deal. Put my pencil on the disappearing point, bring the ruler to it, and then rotate the ruler until it's right in the right spot. All right, so this is a very big flat V. No, this is the ground. This is the ground on which we're going to work. So remember, in 1-point perspective, every line we drew this way would go towards the disappearing point, and everything else was just a straight horizontal line. Well, this time we're changing that to be a little more realistic. For real life, when you're farther away from structures, there's a disappearing point in 2 directions. All right, so let's draw a line just about 1.5 inches or so, a little more than an inch, just right up that center line. So we're going to make up a box by drawing a line from the top of the line we just drew and heading it towards disappearing point 1. But we're not going to go all the way. We're just going to go like yay. And then that establishes that side of the box. Take that point and bring it down. Boom. All right, we've got one side of our box. What's the other side look like? Well, we pay attention to disappearing point 2 to figure out what angle the other side of the box should be. And let's go a similar amount and stop. There we go. Now, put your pencil on the end of that line, bring the ruler to it, rotate until you're nice straight up and down, and then drop that to the ground. There we go. You can even reinforce this one because this is actually part of the box. It's not a guideline anymore. All right, well, that's kind of cool. Kind of looks like an open book. Well, the real power comes in to drawing the top of the box, because the disappearing points are going to give us free information. What? Free information, that's right. It's going to tell us exactly what the top of that box looks like. All we have to do is draw a line heading for disappearing point 1, draw a line heading for disappearing point 2 from this corner over here. And where they cross, that's the end of the box. That's the other corner, the far corner. So now that I know where where they're going to be exactly, I can reinforce those lines, make them a little stronger. Using the same method. Go stop. All right. So depending on how deep you made your box, it's going to tell you. This one looks like it's almost lined up with the front because it's almost a square, almost the same on both sides. But you would notice it'd be more dramatically different if it was a skinny box, skinnier one way than the other. And there we go. We've drawn something in 2-point perspective. This side is disappearing off that way, that one's going that way, and everything else just follows the rules. So let's do a taller box still sitting on the line here. Let's give it a tall edge. Ooh, there it goes, all the way past the horizon line. Now, how deep is it going to be? Let's make it kind of skinny, smaller than our last one, only about that deep. Now we take this line and bring it straight down to the ground. Boop. That's on the ground. All right, so what does the other side look like? Well, we know from drawing this side that we consult disappearing point 1. Put your pen on disappearing point 1, pen or pencil, and then line up. It's easier to go this way, huh? I'll put my pencil on the bottom of that box. Line up disappearing point 1. Remember, you guys can pause if I'm ever going too quick. And send that one behind this box. Whoa, looks more 3D now, doesn't it? We can reinforce this line for the bottom of this box. Boom, we can even take this away. Make it really look more 3D. So how deep does that box go? I don't know, it's obscured behind this box. We'll just say it's somewhere like here, like halfway through this box. So we don't even need to draw that corner because it's behind there. But we send a vertical line up. How high do we go? I'm not quite sure. I'm going to find out by consulting disappearing point 1. So put your pencil on the corner of that thin box and send it towards disappearing point 1, but then stop when you get to that vertical. Stop. Boom. There we go. We've got another box. A tall box behind a squat box. And you can see, since this one's above the horizon line, we don't see the top of that box. This one's below the horizon line, we do see the bottom of that box. Well, that's nice, but what if you don't want to draw something that's down here touching this line? Well, you don't have to. We could draw a box all the way up here. Kind of like how we drew the tree house in the last 1-point perspective house with the treehouse in back. So let's define this box using disappearing point 2. Say it's about that big. Do the same for the bottom. This time we're drawing both the top and the bottom of the box. And just draw them so they line up. But I'm still going to do true vertical. Oh, look. I was lucky. Lined up. Got a little weird right there. Okay. So now, how about this side of the box? Use disappearing point 1. Same with this. Too far, but that's okay, because I have an eraser. Vertically, come down to find that corner. So, just like disappearing points gave us free information about the top of this box, they're going to give us free information about the bottom of that box, because off the top of my head, I don't know how I would draw that necessarily, but we can draw it precisely using these disappearing points. Put your pencil there, line up with disappearing point 1, and send a line that way. Same deal, disappearing point 2, line up with the back corner of the box, and connect it to our first line. Boom. Like that. All right, we got a floating box, we got a small box, we got a tall box. Isn't that neat? Wow. Floating box. That's crazy. How about a box that's really big and way back here? Let's do a super tall box. Whoa, that one's tall. It goes all the way to the top of the paper. And let's do the top edge. Well, it's kind of lining up with that one, but that's just a coinky dink. We'll just stop it right here, so it doesn't interfere with that line. Okay. Whoa, so here we're drawing the top and the bottom. Stick with disappearing point 2. Give me that one. It could even be a flat plane. 8. How do those connect? Well, let's figure it out. Let's take our ruler, keep it vertical. Boom. And yeah, that looks about parallel on that side. So send this down. Stop, because you're going behind that box. And keep on coming. There you go. Oh, is it a very thin box? Is it a 2D plane? Is it a portal that this just came through? Who knows? It could be hollow. Let's give it a thickness though. I'm going to start here and go up. I don't quite know when to stop. I'm going to get that information from disappearing point 1. Wow, this is a crazy angle. Look how far that is. Well, the farther you get away, the more distorted things can be. Well, that's the top. Look at that. That is a dramatic diagonal. But those are the rules. That's what it actually looks like when you get that close to the disappearing point. Usually things get smaller as they get closer to the disappearing point. That means that this one must be super tall. If it came over here, it'd be way off the page. All right, there you go. And remember on our, let's see here. Remember when we were doing these blocks in 1 point perspective, I started kind of carving them up a little bit. We can do that with these too. They just still use the same rules. Let's make this like a tall house. Let's put a peaked roof on it. Just like in our other videos, we can find the center of this block by making an X. Draw a vertical line up and say that's where the roof is going to be. So just connect these. And these. Boom. Now you've got a peaked roof that's centered on this side. And where does this one go? Oh, it heads that way, towards that disappearing point. Whoosh. Like that. For simplicity's sake, we're just going to copy this slope and bring it over here. Drop that in. All right, cool. You get the sense it's not just boxes. We can make all kinds of interesting shapes. How about like a pyramid, something like that? Could we do a pyramid? Can we find the center of the top of this box? We can actually. Let's draw an X. One corner or the other. Well, that's a short line. But since we're looking down the line, it seems short, but it's just as long as this line. Can you believe it? In reality, these two lines are the same length. Well, if you look down at this box from straight above, those two lines would be the same. So that tells us where the center of this, at the top of this box is, and that goes up. We're going to send that up and then connect that to all the corners. What does that do? Well, that actually creates a pyramid, just like the Great Pyramids of Egypt. It's a little hard to see, but I can, even if you did more of a rectangle, you could still do a pyramid kind of a roof. No, it won't be a perfect square pyramid. We can erase this. These are no longer visible. Now we've drawn a pyramid. I can come back and reinforce those. Oh, if you wanted to know what a pyramid looks like right here, that's what it would look like. It's obeying all the rules of 2-point perspective. All right. And before we're doing stuff like shaving pieces off, we can cut off the bottom. Say if we just cut part of this figure off like that. Oh, what do? We just use this information and disappearing point 1 to see how that translates. Sorry, keep breaking my lead today. See how that translates to the rest of the figure. Stop. Stop. I'm actually going to erase this one ahead of time. Let you see that for a second. Because I know this is all gone. All gone. That was connecting out there. Now we just connect those two. It changes. The angle isn't the same as it was there. Oh, interesting. Maybe this is turning into some kind of futuristic city. Well, this thing can't be floating. Let's divide this plane kind of in half like that. I was trying to avoid being right in front of that. We can divide again. Let's just make a random shape on the bottom. I'm using the two disappearing points to draw the outline of a column that'll hold that up. So that's why I drew this square here. So we can ignore these lines. Eventually we're going to ignore the back lines too. So vertically we can just send these down. There. Oh, that's what's holding it up. Whoa, how do we find out where it hits the ground though? That's the tricky part, isn't it? All right, so I have to translate. So this front would have hit the ground here. And then this piece is over here. All right, I think I've gone beyond. There should have been. Really, it's just this guy, actually, where it hits the edge of this. Comes down. I'm working through the pyramid here to find out this point. And once I find out this point, I can just send that point back to disappearing point 1. And that tells us where the bottom of this column is. Now I can erase these because I drew that too long. We don't need that. That goes there. This is obscured now. We're drawing some crazy futuristic buildings. All right, well, next video we're going to draw some very normal looking buildings. But I just thought I'd show you how you can carve up shapes in 2-point perspective. All right, more drawing next time. Bye.